Hello and welcome to the Game Ranker Show. I am your host, Nate the Game Guy. In this video, we're going to take a look at the top 10 most forgotten Xbox 360 exclusives. These are the games that flew under the radar and were overshadowed by other big releases. All these titles will be ranked from the most remembered to the least remembered. So if you happen to agree or disagree with any of these titles, feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and let's have a civilized discussion as to what you may consider to be some of the most forgotten exclusives for the Xbox 360. Now, without further ado, let's dive right into this video and take a look at some of these games in store. Starting off the list at number 10 is Crackdown. This title's sales were mostly driven by the Halo 3 beta that came packaged with the game, and due to those circumstances, there were a lot of people that didn't even bother to try out the main game. This open world title offered a lot of fun as you would explore throughout the city, leveling up your agent by grabbing agility orbs off of buildings, taking down enemies with various weapons and using melee attacks, along with other methods within the game. The Halo 3 beta was of course a lot of fun back during its time, but for those that gave Crackdown a fair shot, it was an enjoyable title that was unfortunately overshadowed despite offering a great experience to those that were fortunate enough to play it. Blasting into number 9 is Project Sylphid. This visually vibrant space shooter took the player into entertaining dogfights out in space, where it would be very easy to be bombarded with all the spaceships, enemy fire, vapor trails, and more. While the visual overstimulation can easily take some time to getting used to, the game offered a great experience for gamers back in 2006, despite this title getting overshadowed by Gears of War, which would release 1 month later. Not only did the game offer stellar dogfights, there was also weapon customization that worked extremely well in Project Sylphid, which enhanced the experience even further when taking the fight out in space. While Square Enix is mostly known for its strong lineup of JRPGs, they decided to take a different turn with Project Sylphid that unfortunately did not get the type of attention of other past Square titles. Running into number 8 is Shadowrun. This class-based first-person shooter was nothing short of being chaotic and fun at the same time. Its online-only multiplayer allowed players to purchase weapons at the beginning of the match, just like Counter-Strike, and depending on which class was chosen, you would be able to use different abilities and magic to help gain the upper hand in battle. While the game itself did provide a lot of enjoyment with its online multiplayer experience, the game did not involve itself with any of the backstory of the Shadowrun universe. However, for those that were only concerned in playing an FPS title with a different take when compared to other shooters at the time, felt right at home, especially with its excessively hectic matches. Another stellar entry at number 7 is Viva Pinata. This is without a doubt a very superb title that flew under the radar, but for those that gave this pinata-eccentric game a chance, there was an endless amount of enjoyment to be found within the gardens that the player could create in-game while attracting different animals themed as pinatas to become residents in the garden by completing different tasks such as having a certain percentage of grass or eating a specific type of plant, or in some cases eating other residents in the garden. This was a game that offered an incredible amount of creativity with not only its gameplay, but of course its overall concept. The art style was also very unique, only adding to the high quality experience that Rare offered at the time. While this game may have been forgotten by many, it offered many great experiences to those that were fortunate enough to play this fantastic entry. Another Rare entry at number 6 is Cameo Elements of Power. This launch title for the Xbox 360 back in 2005 was another vibrant game that delivered on a great experience that also flew under the radar. Cameo allowed the player to transform into various different creatures, all with their own abilities to help fight off different enemies, traverse through the many different locations, and go throughout the game. This game is another example that showcases the creativity of Rare, but unfortunately, just like Viva Pinata, which would release a year after Cameo, both titles would become forgotten about despite being high-quality games that offer a stellar experience for those that played these games back in their day. Now, before this list continues along, I'd like to give a quick moment and invite all of you to consider stopping by my own personal game room channel, which is Nate the Game Guy, where you get to see my own personal video game collection, hear some of my tips when it comes to game collecting, along with me sharing other miscellaneous topics when it comes to game collecting. Now, with that out of the way, let's continue back onto this list. Slashing in to number 5 is 99 Nights. While this game's art style may look similar to Final Fantasy, 99 Nights plays nothing like the iconic JRPG series, but is instead a hack and slash title made by the same team that worked on the Kingdom Under Fire series back on the original installment of the Xbox brand. The game offered great graphics back during its release in 2006 and was a good hack and slash title. However, for those that owned an Xbox 360 and wanted a hack and slash title back in 2006 were more likely more interested in Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires, which unlike 99 Nights already had a solid track record. So while 99 Nights offered beautiful visuals and solid hack and slash gameplay, it was overshadowed by other big name titles that were offered on the second generation of the Xbox brand. The next entry that creeps into number 4 is Condemned Criminal Origins. This was a unique title that Sega brought to the second generation of the Xbox brand, which in the first few moments feels like another first-person shooter, but once everything sets in, you'll realize that Condemned is a first-person horror title that will occasionally give you access to different weapons. The game mostly focused on melee attacks on your enemies and exploring your environment, and it's very dark and unsettling atmosphere with its focus on psychological horror. While this is a title that rarely comes up into conversation about high-quality exclusives from the 360, it was an excellent launch title for those that wanted an experience to keep you on edge, coming from the same development team that's responsible for the Fear franchise. The next entry that blasts into number 3 is The Outfit. During a time when World War II themed shooters were in the mainstream thanks to the Medal of Honor and Call of Duty franchises, The Outfit decided to do things differently. Not only was the game a third-person shooter, but it also required some strategy as well. This wasn't a title that was explicitly gun down your enemies and that was it. You also had the option to control your squad, call in reinforcements, use airstrikes, and use other means to complete your objectives. While most people during this time were playing Call of Duty 2, back when The Outfit was relevant, the game offered a different experience for those that wanted a different approach than a straightforward first-person shooter set in World War II. It is a shame that this title did not get the recognition that it deserved because it did offer a high-quality experience for those that decided to give this game a fair shot. A phenomenal entry at number 2 is Blue Dragon. One of the most obvious things about this game is that its art style is very similar to Dragon Ball, and that is because Akira Toriyama, who is known for creating the Dragon Ball franchise, did work for the character development of Blue Dragon. This traditional turn-based JRPG is often talked about when discussing great Xbox 360 titles that are underrated not only for its art style, but also its execution for being a good JRPG, thanks to Mistwalker Studios, which was founded by Hironobu Seguchi, known for his work with the Final Fantasy series. With Blue Dragon, Microsoft was really trying to get the Xbox name to be more appealing in the Japanese market, and while Microsoft hasn't been successful with their endeavors in building the Xbox name in Japan, both Microsoft and Mistwalker Studios were successful in creating a great JRPG that is spoken very highly of many years later after its release. Now at number 1 is Lost Odyssey. This is another quality JRPG that was also worked on by Mistwalker Studios and Microsoft as their attempt to build on the Xbox brand in Japan. Just like with Blue Dragon, this JRPG also followed the traditional turn-based formula with its gameplay. This title is easily praised upon by those that gave this title a chance back in 2007, thanks to its story, environment, art style, and everything else else that Lost Odyssey brought to the table, and due to those circumstances, it is known to be a high-quality JRPG that is often forgotten about and overlooked. The same trend continued with Lost Odyssey, just like with Blue Dragon, that they were both part of an attempt to build a stronger audience in Japan, but instead created niche JRPG titles that are often praised upon several years after their releases. But what makes Lost Odyssey placed at number 1 is that not only this title is easily forgotten about when it comes to Xbox 360 exclusives, but it is also a beautifully crafted game with everything from its premise to its art style, which gives Lost Odyssey the number 1 spot on this list. Thank you so much for checking out the list. Please be sure to check out these other videos right here so you can see even more games being ranked accordingly. Don't forget to subscribe and be sure to hit that bell notification button so that way you can be notified when there are more games being ranked. Thank you for stopping by and see you next time.